Okay, here is your retake video for learning target 1. Graph a linear relationship from a description or from an equation. Okay, here was the first problem on your test. It was related to learning target 1. And here we have to make a graph of this description. Okay, so Maria likes to babysit her nieces and nephews. Her aunt pays her $3 as a starting rate and then gives her $2 per hour after that. So that's our situation. We need to graph that. I've already drawn in my axes, so I can put a little check there. These are all the things I need to include on my graph. I've already got my x and y axis. I need a consistent scale now, and I need labels. So I'm going to label down here hours babysat, and my y-axis will be money made, because the amount of money that he makes depends on how many hours he babysits for, or she, I guess Maria, how many hours she babysits for. So I'm going to scale these axes. Down here I'm just going to go by ones. I'm just going to make each box 1 hour. And on the y-axis, I'll make each box $1. Then when I go to graph this, so I've done labels, consistent scale, I need a title. So I'm just going to say Maria's babysitting. Got a title. So when I go to graph this, $3 is her starting rate. Okay. So before she has even babysat for 1 hour, she makes $3. So this is our first point right up here at 3. 0 hours babysat, $3 made. So I'm going to put a point right there. She then gets $2 per hour after that. Okay. So if I go here to 1 hour, she's got her original $3 she started with plus $2 for working this 1 hour. So I'll put my next point up here at 5. If she works for 2 hours, she makes another $2, so I'll go up $2 to $7 at 2 hours. And I'll follow that pattern, always going up $2 per 1 hour. And then the last thing that I have to do is draw a line to connect these points. So your number 1 should look something like that. The second part of this learning target then was creating a graph from an equation. Okay, so if we remember our y equals mx plus b, m stood for the slope, which we calculated by rise over run, and b stood for the y-intercept. That was like our starting point. Okay. So if I'm going to go to graph this, first I want to start with the y-intercept, which in this case, if we look at b, which is our y-intercept, here we have a -1 for b. So I'll start with this point right here at -1, and I'll plot that point. That's the first thing I always do. Then we have a slope of 3, because m is 3. M is 3, so we have a slope of 3. So we have a rise over run equal to 3 over 1. So that means from this point we need to rise 3, 1, 2, 3, run 1, and that'll be our next point. We do that again from there, we get up 3, rise 3, run 1, and another point there. And then again, the last thing we have to do is connect the points with a straight line. Okay, pretty similar for the next one. We'll start with B, which is our y-intercept. And that in this one is 6. So we'll start up here at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. then we have a slope of negative 3/4, or negative 3 over 4. So that means our rise over run equals negative 3 over positive 4. So we start at our y-intercept. We have a rise of negative 3, so we go down 1, 2, 3. And we have a run of positive 4. So we've gone down 3, now we need to run 4. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll put a point there. Now those are the only two, because of the way that I've scaled my axes, those are the only two that are going to fit on here. So I'll connect them with a straight line, and I'm done. Okay? So that was question number 2 from your test. Now I've got a couple practice problems for you. So here's, very similar to the test, here's a new situation. Billy has a new paper route. He makes $10 flat rate plus $1 per newspaper delivered. So go ahead and pause the video, work on this problem, and then when you're ready to check your solution, unpause. Okay, so let's go over the solution. Here's your y-axis, here's your x-axis. Done with both of those, I'm just going to check that off. Label and scale it. Down here I'll put newspapers delivered. And here I'll put money made. So again, we'll look at scaling it. I'm just going to go by ones on the x-axis for newspapers delivered. And here on the y-axis, I will scale it by 2s. You can scale it by 1s if you want. I just want to do it by 2s, so I make sure that I have plenty of room for everything to fit on here. So if we look at where does this start, he makes $10 flat rate, even if he doesn't deliver any newspapers. So I'll plot my first point up here at 10. So notice this is at 0 newspapers, and he still makes $10. So that's my starting point. Then each newspaper that he delivers, he gets $1. So if he delivers 1 newspaper, it'll go up $1. So I'll put it right in between 10 and 12, so it's at 11. 2 newspapers, he makes $2, so it'll be up here at 12. If he delivers 3 newspapers, gets $3 extra plus that original 10. And then the last thing that you have to do is connect these with a line. All right. Here's your next practice problem. So graph these two equations on these axes over here. Remember y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope, rise over run, and b is your y-intercept. So take just a minute, pause the video right now, work on these two problems, and then unpause when you're ready to check your solutions. Okay, so you should have done both of these by now. We're ready to check our solutions. So we'll start on this one with our y-intercept of -3. So I'll put in -3 on the y-axis, down 1, 2, 3. And I'll plot that point first, the y-intercept where it crosses the y-axis at -3. Now we have a slope of 2, m is 2, so rise over run equals 2 over 1. So what that means is from this point, we rise 2 and we run 1, up 2, over 1. Rise 2, run 1. Rise 2, run 1. Once I've got all those points, all that's left to do is connect them with a line. Okay. Then the second one, we have a y-intercept of 4. So I'll start on my y-axis. I'll start at 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's my y-intercept. Then we have a slope, rise over run, equals -1 over 3. So our rise is -1, so I'll go down 1. And our run is 3, so I'll go over 1, 2, 3, and plot a point. From here I'll do the same thing. So run of -1, or rise of -1, sorry, run of 3, and plot a point. Okay. If you don't like to use the rise of -1 going down 1, then you can just look at this negative and know that this line has to go down from left to right, because a slope of a negative slope means you have to go down from left to right. So again, last thing to do, connect them with a line. Okay. So look over those, figure out if you have any questions related to these, and come talk to us about doing the retake.